Okay, we're recording, you guys. This is Tracy. It is the 21st of March, and I apologize that you're seeing my picture, but technical glitch, my computer camera did not turn on, but everything else is working. My screen share is working, so we're going to go with it. So what I want to talk to you guys today was about organization. A couple people have mentioned this to me, and we had done this before, and I had asked some people, depending on when you came in, to write out 2 typical days, one being a day of work or a day of school, and the other being a day that you don't work or that you don't have school. So one being a day off and one being a day that you work. And if you haven't done it, what you should do is just go back and kind of write 30-minute increments. And tomorrow, as the day happens, you can even just do it in a note on your phone. What did you do? Like literally everything. Did you go to the bathroom? Did you take a shower? Did you do the dishes? And kind of see where your day is playing out. And that helps you to come back and then organize it, if that makes sense. And this is really good for anything, not just, that you've now have a Beachbody business. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that we need to schedule everything. I mean, everything. Really think about it. When your alarm goes off, when you shower, when you commute, when you work out, when you drink your Shakeology, like really go down to the minute little details right now. You're not going to need to keep doing that, but just so you really can see what's going on. Because if you think about this, it's a business, and a business has hours. And whether you're able to work this business, for many of us, it's a second job, or it becomes then a primary job, right? So if you were to go to a business, if you owned a brick and mortar and you were a health coach and you were in a shopping plaza, there would be a sign on your door that said your work hours. Whether you were there 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day or 5 hours a day, you would have hours. And so even though you're working at home, it's the same. You want to have business hours. Now, for some of us, it's not going to be the same hours every day, but it's important to see that, okay, this is business, I'm working business. Whether it's in 10-minute increments, 20-minute increments, or hour increments, it's business hours, and treat it as that, right? You're running a business. So you want to schedule everything. And I schedule no matter what I'm doing, no matter where I am. And the great thing is I used to use paper and pencil, and now I use Google Calendar. So I'm going to share this just to show you guys what I do. You can do this paper and pencil. You can do this Google Calendar. Somebody nod if this is working, because do you see Google Calendar? Okay, because my camera's not working and I was a little afraid. So I'm going to move you guys away. So in Google Calendar, as you can see here, there's all kinds of colors because my life is on Google Calendar. Now you can do this in Notebook. I used to do Notebook only, but I have all of our stuff together here. I've got to schedule out my life. When I don't schedule out my life, what happens is I start something, then I get distracted by this and I start that. Then the phone rings and I get distracted and I start that. And I just don't get anything done. So I'm actually going to show you today. Look at this. It says 6 more. So for me, the pink is Beachbody. So, I had the Team Go-Getters call, which I did not get on. So I will look back, and if I will do it on a commute, because that's what's going to happen. I didn't have the time. The Diamond Zoom was a leaders group. I had 2 calls with prospective customers or coaches today at 1 and 1:30, and this is our call now. But here is my to-do, and I do this every day. And what happens is, this is what I specifically, follow-ups I specifically needed to look at today. And that's just in a to-do list on my Google Calendar. When I put it somewhere else, I just needed everything in one place. And the thing is, this goes to everywhere, whether I'm on the library computer or I'm on my laptop or on my phone or on my iPad, which I don't have one, but if I had one, it all goes to everything. A lot of people like to use iCalendar if they've got all Apple products, and that works too. If you use paper and pencil, you can do this. So what you're seeing here, briefly, is the yellow is my shared stuff. So that's the stuff Steve sees. Pink is Beachbody. Blue is my daughter. Green is Steve when he's away, so that I know what's going on with him. So everything is here, and without it all being together, I would miss it. So you guys may see your names here. Like, you see that I talk to Bob every Thursday, and that's in my calendar, or I'm going to miss him. So this is what I do. And I really have to look at the calendar in order to see this. So how do I start this? You've got to start by going through policy with your partner. If you live at home with your parents or you have roommates, policies with them. You want them to know what's going on. I see you, Joseph. My picture's not moving tonight, but I see you. Hello. So I'm going to share, if I can get it to come up, I'm going to share briefly. I'm not going to play it, but I want to show you how Steve and I set policies and the way we do it. And I did this on an Apple computer happens to have Post-its on the computer. So, you could do this on real Post-its. And this is just one of the things we did. Now this, it's going to be hard to see this. So this is Post-its. So let me open it. So what you see here is there's Post-its for every month of the year. So I'll make it go away. I just want to give you a visual. So 4 seasons, each got a different color. It was just a way for us to organize it in, and every month had a Post-it. So what I did there is, you want to get together and you need to be doing your schedule with whoever you're working with. You're running a business from home. And it's so important that you guys are communicating about this and setting work hours. Now, I can tell you that I now, I used to do this when I was a nurse and do it at night. And I'm now at home, but I do Beachbody on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. But Steve and I have talked about that, and he expects that. I have a team that some people are busy during the day, and I have challengers that work during the day, and I needed to have an hour and a half on Tuesday night and an hour and a half on Wednesday night that I was available to schedule calls. But he knows that, and he expects that. So it's not, like all of a sudden I'm saying, honey, I have to work. We put that into our schedule and made that part of our week. So that why do I do those Post-its? What you can do is you divide your year into 4 sections of 3 months. And the first thing you're going to do is put everybody's birthday on there, right? That's a non-negotiable day. You're not working. So, that's a non-negotiable. Do you have kid events you have to be at? Every Sunday, all fall and all spring, our daughter has a sport she's in. Sunday's off limits. That's a non-negotiable. Steve and I have a non-negotiable of 2 dates a month. So whether they're free dates or lunch dates or whatever they are. But we went over these policies together and we came up with them together. What were our non-negotiables? Our non-negotiable is one of us has to be at our daughter's event. That is non-negotiable. And one of the things is keeping each other accountable to this. I travel and he travels. So because we both travel, we try as best we can, looking way out. We're looking at a year in advance, right? To put our travel on there. He travels 1 week out of the month, and he used to travel more than that. So now we're saying, okay, you travel once a month. Let's schedule this so you only travel once a month. So you put all these non-negotiables on there first. Then you can go back and fill in the rest of your calendar. You may have church on Sundays. That's a non-negotiable, for example. So there's different things that you're going to put in there that's not going to be your work. It's not going to be your work hours. And, and you got to stick to it. So what I do is we schedule all that out. And, you want to be able to have access to that calendar wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are, you want to have access. So whether you're carrying it with you and you're at your kid's basketball game or you're home, you want to have access. And now you got to think about business hours. When do you go to business, right? You're running a business. So when can you run that business? And really, you can run a Beachbody business 5 to 7 hours a week if you're really working those 5 to 7 hours a week, right? If you're not like what I used to do and get distracted, start here, but a message pops up, so go over to that and then go back to the email and then go back to the message. That did not work for me. That was distracting to me. So if you really have non-distracted hours, it really works. And that's what we've got to do. So when you set these hours, you've got to share them with your family. Like I was saying, share your calendars. I share my calendar with Steve. He can see it. We have a Google Calendar. Google Calendar, you can just share your calendar. I have nothing to hide. He sees my calendar. I see his. And include them in developing your hours. And that's what's important. And you want to stay true to this time. So, it's Wednesday night. I'm not watching Modern Family. I have hours that I get on the phone with people. And the other nights, I don't do that. I like NCIS. We watch that together. There's shows we like to watch together. Yes. I don't spend that much time on TV, but there's stuff that's family time. So that's a non-negotiable, right? So what you want to do is find also, after I'm going to tell you my 2 schedules while I worked and now that I, worked outside the house and now I work full-time Beachbody. But what you want to do is think about, I said to write down your day for a couple of days. And you want to point out your dead time. Dead time may mean you're in a car. So what you want to think about is when you're sitting in car line, when you're commuting. Do you have a child that goes to softball practice? Or baseball practice. So I don't know what you guys kids play. So I'm just guessing at things. And rather than sit on the bleachers at practice, I'm not talking about games, and you know how the moms gossip and have fun, you know, really I found that if I would stick in earphones, they kind of left me alone and I could listen to PD, personal development. Always when I'm in the car, I do that. In the car line, if you've got one child in the car and you're picking up another child from school, you can say, okay, it's homework time. How many pages do you have to read in your book today? Okay, mommy has homework too, and you can get a message done. It's not dead time, but it's a way to utilize, granted that's multitasking, but that's multitasking that's safe, right? And then you've got to think, when are you going to do your power hour? And as new coaches, we talk about you want to post 3 times, you want to invite 3 times. The 2 things that you want to do every day are invite and follow up. And if you can't get anything else in that day, that's the 2 things you want to do. And if you're looking at your schedule, you want to think about, where is that going to fit in? So another thing that would help is I use Dropbox, and some people use Google Drive, right? And I do that to keep documents in that I use frequently, because then I have them on my phone also. So I will have, common things I use all the time, common answers, common questions I ask of people. They're right there at my fingertips, because frankly, my brain doesn't remember. So I keep them there for me. So I really use that. I prefer Dropbox, but it just depends what you like. So what I want to do, and I'm sorry you can't see me and that this didn't go on, I can call into myself on my phone. Why did not somebody give me that idea? Duh, Tracy. So I'm going to pull this up on my phone so you'll see me twice. Won't that be weird? Join a meeting. Let's see what happens. Sorry, I'm inviting myself to my meeting. How silly, right? 878-907-1711. Okay, I'm inviting myself to my meeting. Hi, you guys. Oh my God. Don't tell me it's not. Okay. So do you see me? Let me see. Okay, I don't know how to make it not do that. Does anybody know? There, do you still hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up. I don't know how to do it.
You need to turn off your thing on one of your
Okay,
devices.
do you hear me now? I'm taping myself making these horrible mistakes. Oh, well. So anyway, I wanted to give you guys an example of my schedule, what I did when I was a nurse and what I do now. Okay. So when I was a nurse, like I did better when I was a nurse at keeping schedule. I know that's crazy. I was telling Denise about that. But because I had less time, when I had these small increments of time, I was more efficient. And now, because I have more time, I'm thinking, oh, I can get to it later. So I actually was better when I had less time. I know that makes no sense, but that's just the way my brain worked. So when I was a nurse at 5:15. So from 5:15 to 5:45 was my fitness. Like, that's when I did it, because that's the only time I could do it. And I never did more than 30 minutes because I didn't have it, right? From 5:45 to 6:15 was shower and get ready and get the scrubs on and get the heck out the door. I drank my Shakeology in the car. That's when I had it. When I didn't have Shakeology, I didn't eat breakfast. I'm honest, I didn't. So it like changed my life because I didn't eat breakfast. Bad, right? But I didn't. While I was in the car, my drive was about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So for me, while I was in the car, I did personal development. So whether I got a whole one in or half one in, I got it on the way to work and the way back. And that's how I did it. I wasn't able to get the reading done, but I did a lot of audio. And for me, that's what worked. So that's how I did it. So 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. I was at work. And I got one 20-minute break for lunch. Sick, but that's what it is. I don't know if you were in that spot, but that's where I was. And I coached like that for 2 years. So during that break, I did my lunch after most of the other people, because for me, the group that I worked with ate really junky, crappy food. And I had a hard time eating in this break room with them and not eating the donuts and crap. So I brought my lunch and I would just say, oh, you guys, I'm going to chart right now. I'm going to eat later. While most of them ate, now there was a couple that did what I did. I charted. Then when they were done eating, I went and ate. The room was empty and I did PD, or I messaged people while I was at lunch, because it gave me a 10 or 15-minute block to connect with at least one person and to at least respond to them and not ignore them. Then 7:30 to 8 p.m. was my commute home. And again, that was PD. I ate when I got home, and I worked my business from 9 to 10, as in what we call power hour, or my invites and more getting back to people. I did that 3 days a week. Whenever I worked a back-to-back 2 12-hour shifts, I was fried and done the next day. I literally was done. I did not function until about noon. So that's how I did that. And that's how I did it. And I know, like, it's just so many hours, but I just knew I needed to get out of that place of doing that, because he was working 2 jobs. And on the days I wasn't nursing, I was teaching fitness at night. And why was I doing that? Because I love teaching fitness, but you don't make any money teaching fitness. Like, really, you can't teach enough hours to pay bills teaching fitness. Your just body can't do that, right? So, that was, and I got free membership to the gym. So I was teaching fitness because I enjoyed it, but I made the money being a nurse. And now that I'm able to be home and I'm not nursing anymore, but I still teach fitness because I love doing it. So now, still at 5:15, I'm getting up. Because 2 mornings a week I teach at 7 a.m. So that still happens, but my workout on the days I teach is my teaching. And then I come home. The days I don't teach, I'm blessed. My husband brings me coffee in bed. And after they leave the house at 7 o'clock, then I get up, because it's not worth all of us competing for the bathrooms and everything. So we don't do that. So I tend to eat breakfast about between 8:30 and 9. Sometimes it's Shakeology, and sometimes it's a big breakfast, because sometimes I swap it with lunch, depending on which way I'm doing it. From 9 to 11, I do majority of my invites and follow-ups. I have calls with coaches, usually or people that I'm talking to about helping them with fitness, they usually happen around noontime. It tends to be the time people can connect. If somebody's at work, they can connect at noontime. If somebody's got little kids, they're napping. So that noontime tends to be a really good time for people to set up appointments with me. And most of you guys do that. Like I talked to you about 12 or 12:30, and that tends to be, and then some people have a nighttime. That's why I have Wednesday night. After that, my afternoon is what I would call busy work, but it's still for the business. The invites and follow-ups are my business work. Like my busy work right now is the website. So I've been building that website. So thank you guys for your feedback. Denise has given me tons of feedback on it. So that's what I do right now. So I'll hit that about an hour. By 3 o'clock, I'm done. I don't work anymore. And then I do on Tuesday and Wednesday night, I am doing Beachbody. So like that's my day, if that helps you. I don't know if that helps you. So that's how, I schedule it. But I do find that I absolutely have to, I guess the right word is unplug. When I'm doing my power hour and follow-ups, and sometimes you guys, I use Voxer for emergencies. That is the only thing I keep on when I'm doing my power hour. I have Facebook on off. Like I don't see the news feed. I use Chrome, and you can go to the Facebook Chrome plugin and download it, and it turns off your news feed so you don't see it. So when I'm on Facebook on my computer, I can't see the news feed. The only time I can see it is if I choose to put it on my phone. So I unplug. I put my phone in airplane mode or silent. So the only thing that pops up is a Voxer message will pop up. So that's the only thing you can get me is, that's why I say to you guys, don't use Voxer for, personal stuff. But that's what I do. But if I don't stick to that, I'm in trouble because I can't get anything done. I'm just all over the place because a message will pop up and I'll go to that. And I can't zone in on what I'm doing. So I'm going to stop recording. Wait, how do I?